The elimination of gender disparity in education systems worldwide is one of the 8 Millennium Development Goals of the United Nations. Notwithstanding, the global gender gap is still wide. In many countries, gender inequality persists, and women continue to face discriminations in work and economic area, in access to education, and participation in government. Illiteracy has a woman's face. According to UNICEF, about 121 million children did not have the chance to attend school. Out of those, 57% of them are girls. In 1/3 of the world's countries, there are still more boys enrolled in primary school than girls. There are 76.7 million illiterate females between ages 15 to 24, whereas there are only 48.8 million illiterate males. In Bolivia, 30% of adult women cannot read or write, and only 40% of Pakistani women can in comparison to 70% of men. In India, it was estimated that for every 1,000 boys in school, there are only 46 girls. This critical situation parallels in Latin America as well. In Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, and Paraguay collectively, there are 2 million children out of school, 41% of which are girls. Despite that, in Brazil, the situation has significantly improved in the last decades. According to the human rights activist Marcos Rolim, women are making giant strides, thus gradually closing the disparity gap between men and women.
Day by day, in Brazil, women are conquering more prominent space in education and are forming higher component professional profile in comparison to men. Nowadays, for example, 40% of doctors are women, and between young doctors, the majority are female. The same situation is happening in the judiciary field. There is an evident conquest of space in academic and professional careers.
In another South American country, Paraguay, there still exists a deep male chauvinistic culture, as Emilio Camacho said.
In the decision-making process and in the higher education system, there is a slight lack of women. For instance, Paraguay has 7 national universities. The 7 deans are men. The situation is better in law and medicine universities. In the decision-making process, there is a huge absence of women.
The obstacles to schooling stem from discrimination, prejudices, and extreme poverty, which forces most females to contribute to family income. It is no accident that the regions that account for the majority of girls who do not have access to education are the ones that have difficulty getting out of poverty, such as some areas of Far East and South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. The latter, in particular, the recent outbreak of Ebola has caused the closure of many schools. Another important obstacle is the fear of being the victim of an attack. In fact, according to UN sources, more than 3,600 separate attacks against educational institutions, teachers, and students occurred in 2012 alone. Unfortunately, in the last few years, there appears to be an increase in regular attacks. International nonprofit organizations are trying to improve the actual situation, but without the help of local communities, no real change can be made.
There are problems, but with increasing involvement of local communities, we can solve them. Having local NGO members who know the language and understand the culture involved is the first step in dealing with existing problems.
Luckily, there are some inspirational women that tried and succeeded in making a change, starting from their own local communities. The first Nigerian female lawyer, Huaba Ibrahim, successfully defended the people who were condemned under Sharia law. She was integral to the survival of women from poor and uneducated backgrounds pro bono. Although there is still work to be done, clearly there are inspirational women among us and there is still hope.